Okay. All right, y'all. We are ready to kick this party off. Are we are we live? Are we live? Are we live? All right, y'all. Get on in here. Good evening. Good evening. Good evening. We are ready to kick off this evening session, and I am so glad to see your beautiful faces back in the room tonight. Y'all know the deal. We need an active chat. So if you are live, whether you are on YouTube, whether you are on Zoom, start lighting that chat up. Drop something. Where are you watching? Where are you tuning in from? Let me see y'all. I want to see faces. I want to see cities and states. I want to see emojis. Let's go. Here's what I know. Y'all could have done anything else this evening. It's a fine Monday night. All right. And you chose to be here. And again, I think that speaks volumes about you and the type of person that you are. And what I believe is that it means something is stirring up on the inside of you. And you like, I'm not really sure what's going to be different at the end of these 5 days, but I'm not going to miss it. I want to find out. So I hope that you were able to watch Act One this morning. It was so, so good. So if you did not, go back, catch the replay. And midday was even more fire. Okay, I got a page of notes. So here we are back for the evening, and we came to work. So tonight, the Taylors are going to go deeper, and this is going to take everything you felt in Act One and really build some foundation to it. So get your notes ready. Okay, if your spouse is willing to come with you, go get them, and let's get into it. Before we do that, I do want to share my screen because I promised you that I was going to tell you something about a contest where you could win some coinage. Okay, so I want to share my screen. I hope that y'all can see that. Okay. Um, we are running an engagement contest all week long, okay? So my people who have been already active in the chat, this should be easy for you. Just keep doing what you're doing, okay? So I want you to look at this slide. We have two ways that you can win this week, and I want you to hear me clearly because this is for everybody. I had to double check with the team. I said, "Are you sure?" And they said, "Everybody, YouTube and Zoom, this is for all of you." So on the left, you see our daily prize drawing every single night this week. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, we are giving away $50 cash, just $50 every single night, family. Okay. But you have to be here on the live session to win. We don't want to hear no, I was watching the replay and I filled out the form and I'm looking for my prize. You have to be here. There will be no retroactive paying out of the $50. Don't DM and say, I was watching the replay. You must respond immediately. So here's how it works. Tonight, after the Taylors are finished teaching, the team is going to drop a form link in the chat. It's super simple. All you have to do is put your name, your email, your Cash App, and your Zelle. That's it. Okay. After Q&A wins, you have 5 minutes. Okay, let me make sure that's clear. You have 5 minutes to complete the form because the team has to tally the names. Okay. After Q&A ends, we will choose a winner, and you must be present when we spin. Okay. If your name comes up and you are gone, we spin again. No exceptions. No DMs. No, I was watching the replay. You have to be here. And before you get your coins, you have to share one powerful takeaway from tonight's session. I think that is my favorite part. So you can either drop it in the community or post something on social media and tag words Taylor. But we're just not going to give you $50 for being here. We want transformation. So you have something to prove tonight. All right. So now on the right hand side, I want you to know this is the grand prize. Okay. You are playing for a dinner. Ooh la la. A 2-night hotel stay. Who don't want that? And a covenant alignment exercise. Y'all, it's a full experience for you and your spouse where you are doing a covenant reset. It is a reset. So this one is about consistency, not just tonight or one night. So to qualify, you have to complete at least 2 engagement actions a day for 4 separate days this week. So that means you're showing up every day and you are putting in the work. So here's the things that count as an engagement action. You can share a screenshot of the session on your Instagram stories and tag at Words Taylor. You can post a 30 to 60-second reaction clip. You can write at least 3 sentences of a takeaway and post it in the Facebook community or Telegram. You can invite another couple to join you here, and you have to show proof. Or you could post a reflection video and tag at Words Taylor. 2 of those per day, 4 days per week, and the team will be checking, okay? And you will be in the running for the covenant reset. We already asked if we could try, and we were told no, we are not eligible. But I know y'all want this, okay? All of your evidence and your proof has to go in the designated community thread for that day. All right. Not in the DMs, not late, not talking about what you did yesterday. Okay. So the daily rewards is to reward you for being here. The covenant reset rewards you for your consistency, and you can compete for both. So now I want to know, how serious are you about this week? I need you to make a decision right now. If you're serious and if you are interested in playing for both these weeks, drop some fire in the chat. All right. Drop some fire in the chat. Who's going to win this? So before we get into the teaching, we have a really, really special treat for you guys tonight. All right. I cannot think of a better person to introduce the Taylors than this lovely lady who I've never been in her presence, and she does not have a word. Okay. She is a mother, she is a wife, she's a business owner, and a show enough woman of God. Okay. She has done the work. She not only does it, she lives it, and she is somebody who really, really, really knows words in Julanda in a way that most people don't. She they people, y'all. These are they people. She they dog. Okay, a word he would say, that's my dog. Okay, they are her people. They go together. All right. There's nobody better to set the table for what words in Julanda are about to bring tonight. So without further ado, show some love in the chat. Give it up for the one and only Tiffany. Hey.
What's up, y'all? Hey, Tut Tut. What's up? How are you guys doing? I just want to just welcome you to this week. I know you've already enjoyed the kickoff session and you have already had a good old time. Okay, a good old time in the afternoon session. I was there too. I said, "Oh, we telling all our business." Was they not okay? I said, okay. I didn't realize we was okay. We was gonna tell all our business, and I realized y'all told all y'all business, and it's not even an evening session. How many of y'all was like they didn't told all they okay for lunch? They didn't already told all their business. All right. So I said, well, let me come tell all my business too. Then, if that's the standard, I'm gonna come quickly tell y'all my business as well. And I'm just gonna give you a few rules before words in Julanda come up on the virtual stage. I'm going to give you a few rules that I want you to kind of go by for the entirety of the week. Okay. Give you a few rules. And then I'm going to give you just a few things to think about. Just a few things to think about and consider. And I'm going to be able to speak from personal experience as you do this. Okay. So, first off, I am married. Okay. I'm happily married, been happily married going on 14 years. 14 years. Give it up. Give it up for the Lord of Lords, okay? Because he the one that's done did it. All right. 14 years. Been together for 18 years. So I know you guys already shared this on the call last night, but since I was on the YouTube watching and not the Zoom, for my couples that are here, for the people on YouTube, can y'all put how long y'all been together in the chat for me? Okay. Let me just hear how long the Lord has kept you. Okay. And I'm going to pull my YouTube up. How long has the Lord kept you? All right. And let me make sure I can see all your pretty faces. All right. So what we have? Okay, 15. Okay, come on, Took. Okay, y'all got us by 1 year, Took. Okay. 15, 19 years. Come on, Leah and Mike. I love to see it. I think that it's a beautiful thing. And I told Words this, I shared this, I'll share this with you guys as well, because I think it just shows the heart of Words in Julanda as it pertains to this. Is I believe that there's a humongous variety of things that grieve God. I mean, grieve him. I mean, a type of grief that we would not be able to fathom. It just grieves him. And what he does is, because we're just little babies in his eyes, okay? We're just little children in his eyes. we could not bear the grief of all the things that grieve God. Can you imagine? Can you imagine? Because we don't even know half the things that he has to look at. So we can't bear the grief. So what he does is he takes certain categories of things and he just gives us just a small percentage of that grief and he shares it with us individually. And then that's the thing, when you have that, when you share that grief with God, you know what your calling is, what your mission is. Even if it's not something that you're monetizing, you know what your ministry is. If you're in church, you'll just know it. Why? Because you'll realize that you have an intense grief on this subject. And you know how, let me tell you how trifling people are. When you share your grief, they go, well, what about you? Why are you not talking about this? Well, that's not what God placed on my heart. That's not what he shared his grief with me on. I'm on assignment for what God shared his grief with me on. How many of you have certain things that it just seems like it bothers you more than it bothers anybody else? And you know, okay, that means that's where you should be interceding, and we're seeing where you have to pour out. I say that to say I can't share any type of relationship turmoil with Words Taylor. It'll be hours later. He'll hit me. I was just thinking about what you said, man. Gosh, I hate they arguing like that. You think I could? You think I could talk to him? I said, what? They don't know you, Robert. Okay, they don't. Yeah, you gotta. I got it, man. I don't know, man. I gotta get, because he shares the grief of God when it comes to marriages. He is passionate about it. That's how you know he would not be doing this had it not been for God. He naturally wants to work behind the scenes on businesses. He naturally wants to talk businesses. He naturally wants to work on securing the financial future of his family. But it is because this topic grieves him so much that God just began to pour out his wisdom on this topic, give him revelation on this topic, give him strategy on this topic. And then you merge yourself with somebody like Julanda, who has been, she told all her business today, okay? Who has been through hell and back. And she comes from a place with so much wisdom, so much forgiveness, so much love, so much peace, so much joy that she can share. How do you take that and then have a thriving marriage? And so I just feel like because of those reasons, there's nobody better for us to be learning from. Because I do believe that they both share the grief of God when it comes to this matter. Can I tell you something real quick? Okay. Because some of you may not know, but marriage is your first ministry. This is your first ministry. This is the one that should have the highest priority. I know that the kids can take precedent. Them little scoundrels don't care nothing about your marriage. How many of you could be in a test? They don't care anything about the bliss of you and your spouse. You know how I know? Because let one person tell them no. What they gonna do? Come on, put it in the chat. What they gonna do? They just want y'all to fight. What they gonna do? Let one of you, let mama tell them know where they going, and let daddy tell them know where they going. What are they going to do? Okay. Tanisha, sneak on to the other one. Go to the other one. Why are they gonna do that? Do they care that when behind closed doors you're gonna argue about that later? You think they care about that? They don't care nothing about your marriage. Now, they don't know that they should. They don't know that they should, but they don't. Their intention is to be selfish. Their intention is, and they're set up in a way that they can't do anything without you. And so it's very easily to be deceived that they are the ones that should get the most attention. But can we put first ministry in the chat, that marriage is our first ministry? Marriage is our first ministry. How many of you know these bills come so fast? You be like, I promise you, this must be a 2-week bill. It seemed like 30 days did not go by. How many the bills come? Okay, way too fast. They come way too fast. And then they just go up. They don't never surprise you go down. They don't never see electricity bill come. Well, you know, it was cold outside. Well, how about why in the spring then? Okay, you don't surprise me and be $50. Why you don't do that then? Can you explain that? They don't want to talk about that. Why? Because the bills just keep coming. The bills keep coming. So what it will do sometimes is the burden of the financial responsibilities that we have can take precedent, because at the end of the day, we need to have a roof over our head. We want to have food in the cabinets. We want to have all the things, and it can take precedent, and it can deceive us that it's our first ministry. But how many marriage is your first ministry? There's a lot of deception in our responsibility list that we'll start to think that it can just take a back seat. It could just be knocked down. Okay, I'm gonna get to that when I can. I know I need to address that. I'm gonna address that when I can, and other things take precedent. You want to know another reason why I know that this is the case for you? I am the product. I am the product of two divorces that I've experienced. Okay, not my own as a child. Two, my my mother and biological father divorced when I was adolescent, so probably about 7 years old, and then I experienced a divorce again as an adult when she remarried, and then okay, life was great. Okay, home was great, and then okay, then that ended in divorce as well. And I don't know how many of you can relate. Okay, I see Sarah's on here, Ariel. Okay, Levy. I see. Okay, can y'all just put anybody in here that were the product of divorced parents? Divorced or never even got married. Jackie says me. Okay, I'm on YouTube as well. I can see YouTube. Okay. Tuka says her parents were divorced. Leah says she's a product of it. Um, so I was a product of it as well. There's a few things that I wrote down that if I could go back in time as a child and sit my parents on the couch and talk to them with what I know now, what I would tell them about what I wish they knew at the time. There's just a few things that I'm going to go over. You might have your few things as well. You might want to journal those things tonight. Okay. Now, this is where I'm about to tell all my business. Okay. If I could sit down with my parents and tell them before the divorces could have happened, I would have said probably something like, "Hey guys, I realize we travel a lot and we collect China. That was the thing they collected a lot of China. China's very expensive. Yeah, some of y'all don't know nothing about no China. Okay, you young bucks. How many of you know China? So who had it? Mama, grandma had some China. Okay, very expensive. Had China. Precious moments. Is there one that knows what precious moment? Come on, Ariel laughing. Okay, come on, I got somebody. Precious moment. You know the little fixtures. You got to collect them things. You got to collect. They would collect those as well. That was real nice furniture. China cabinets. They don't know nothing about no wall unit, Sarah. They don't know nothing about having it's a whole it take up the whole wall, a unit of things you got to put in it. The oak wood. They don't know you have to have like that burgundy oak, very real wood. Okay, now they do the little fake stuff you could get at IKEA. No, no, sir, no, ma'am. Not in the house I grew up in. We spent a lot of money on that. But why we didn't spend no money on no marriage counseling? If I could sit them down, I would say, hey, can we take potentially I know sometimes we say money is tight here. I see sometimes that's what y'all be arguing about. You think we could take some of this stuff back so that my parents could stay together? I wonder if we could I wonder if we just had a regular TV stand and not a wall unit and we could actually pay a professional, then maybe y'all could help, maybe work some of these things out. I wonder if we didn't get every new precious moment that came out that made your heart sing because it looked like it was, oh, this one looked like when I used to hold you when you was a baby. I wonder if we just probably left that at the store, and then maybe you could have talked to a professional. Cause I'm not here to judge you, mama. I know what you went through. I know you went through physical abuse and in your earlier days, and I know sexual abuse, and I know all the things you went through. So I'm not here to judge, but if you could have just got some help, then maybe y'all could be together. Cause obviously y'all are not bad people. Cause the minute y'all separated, y'all still with the same great couple I've known to love. It's just together because of the mirror of marriage that it just all the stuff that you threw in the closet, that junk closet, if somebody open it, they might get a concussion. That all that stuff in there, when you get married, marriage swings those doors open. And I just wish if we could have just invested a little bit more into making sure that when that door got swung open, that we didn't have kids laying as innocent bodies in turmoil because y'all got divorced when y'all probably could have worked it out. So I would probably see if maybe that was an option in the budget. Another thing I would say is, hey guys, um, I didn't guess I didn't really realize it at the time. You think maybe you could be a little bit more mature and have a little bit more discipline where you don't wake me up, and well, I'm a child, so I don't know how I could have helped anyway. Wake me up out my sleep because y'all fighting. Like y'all don't understand. Like literally bust up in the room. Are we leaving? Where we going? We going? I'm not putting up. And but just both of them just this all this going on right here. I'm trying to. I was a child. I would probably say if there was any possible way we could have exercised any of that discipline, any of that any of that stuff, y'all take me to church every Sunday. I went to church about 5,000 times a week. Any of that stuff you learning in church, you think maybe we could utilize some of those things in our conversation with how you guys interact with each other? I would ask them these questions, and I would try to inspire for them to come to a higher standard and them to have the revelation on this is my first ministry. This is not the thing that you neglect. So I saw a quote shared where he said, neglect everything else if you have to, but never neglect your marriage. Neglect everything else if you have to, but never neglect your marriage. And so I implore you, okay, as you embark on this 5-day journey, to keep that in mind that marriage is your first ministry, and to keep that in mind that there's bodies in the wake if you can't work this out, if you don't find a way to live in bliss. Here's my thing too. Forget that let's just be roommates. I want bliss to be the goal. I want bliss to be the goal, besties to be the goal. That's what I want to be the goal. I got married in my mid 20s, and just like the enemy, the enemy's not too much concerned when you're dating, especially if you was heathens and was dating and still, no purity, no nothing, dipping it and doing it. He not too much concerned about that. How many once you got married, all of a sudden all hell broke loose? That's not a coincidence. Okay, that's not a coincidence. You've now entered into a spiritual covenant with the protection of heaven, and so now the enemy has a problem with it. He is opposed to marriage. Okay, he's opposed to marriage. So I was with my husband. We dated for years, and then we got married. And then all of a sudden, I was like, "Yeah, I think I married the wrong person. I think I got this one. I think I got this one wrong. I just think so. I just something in me. I feel like I just married the wrong person." And so we didn't have the whole thing where we fought a lot. We had it just was cold. It was a cold marriage in the beginning. And he went and got his CDL, so he had went away to trucking school, and then after trucking school they had him over the road. And so it was just me and my son at home. And I remember when he called me, he said, babe, I said, what's up? He said, I'm so excited. I finally got a local job. I'm coming home. And he was so happy. And when I tell y'all, I was like, oh, I was depressed. I was sad. I was like, I'm not excited. And I can remember exactly what was going on in the room. I was sitting on the couch and I said, God, this cannot be what you want for my life. That I would feel like this because he's coming home, like a dread because he's coming home. And I was still, I loved God, but I was a heathen at the time. Okay. Because I don't know how people can enjoy marriage without it being submitted under Christ. I don't know how they do it. I see some atheists been together 20. I don't know how they do it. Okay. I don't know how they pull it off. But I knew in that moment that I needed help. And I thought at the time, y'all, okay, it was all of these things wrong with him, and God was gonna have to fix him for this thing to work out. Okay, okay, I know I'm not the only one. If God could just get to working on do the little reconstruction site, we could be okay. And so I had just went to God and I said, I don't want to feel this way. If you could fix him before he gets back, that would be fantastic. And I woke up the very next day, and I saw a sermon on TV, nothing but God. Okay, a sermon on TV. How many is it? I think is it Jimmy Evans? I can't think of his name. Okay, y'all know he's a pretty famous preacher in marriage, and he said if you have thoughts that you married the wrong person, if you had thoughts that it's never, when I tell you, it was like he was reading the thoughts from my mind. He said, I just want you to know that is an attack of the enemy. He says, you know how I can say it so eloquently and speak the same thoughts you say? Why? He said he runs the same play on all y'all. He said he runs the same play because it's effective. Because why fix something when you don't feel like you're even with the right person? That's when you just tap out because you're like, I don't even think I'm with the right person. He said he runs the same play. It's effective. That's how I know to say it. And I know all of you have tears welling up in your eyes, and because that's what you've already thought, because he runs the same play. And it was at that moment that I realized, oh, it's not me against my husband. It's me and my husband against the enemy. And all the gangster in me, okay, got activated. And I realized I wasn't gonna go down without a fight. I said, I'm going back to church. I wasn't going to church like I should. I said, I'm going back to church. He hadn't got back yet. He was going to come back the next week. I go to church by myself on Sunday. You want to know what he said at church? Guys, welcome. We're starting our marriage series for the next 6 weeks to all about marriage. Nothing but God will put me at the foot of this type of education, okay, and sit at it and just begin to get this type of education before he even came. Okay, cut to now. We live in marital bliss. Okay, we both at home all day now. Not a problem at all. Best friend. Okay, in marital bliss because we submitted our relationship to Christ and we let that closet door open up and everything fall out and we cleaned it up together. And so it brings me to my last point, and I turn it over to Words and Mail. Matthew chapter 7, verse 3 and 5 says, why do you look at the speck of sawdust in your brother's eye and pay no attention to the plank in your own eye? Why do you look at the speck of sawdust in your brother's eye, in your spouse's eye, and pay no attention to the plank in your own eye? That was me. And how can you say to your brother, let me take the speck out of your eye, when all the time there is a plank in your own eye? Verse 5 says, you hypocrite. First, take the plank out of your own eye, and then you will see clearly to remove the speck out of your brother's eye, out of your spouse's eye. So I just want you to imagine this week that everything you hear is to get the plank out of your own eye. Everything you hear is to get the plank out of your own eye. I want you to imagine the plank coming out of your eye. Because you know, when Words of Julanda say something good, you're going to want to swing your neck towards them, about to get whiplash to look at them because you think that's something that they should hear. I just want you to know your plank could give them a concussion. Because every time you swing, okay, the plank out of your eye is going to hit them and you could go to jail. Okay, if you give your spouse a concussion, they will put you in jail for that. So what I want you to remember is before you swing your head, everything you hear is to get the plank out of your eye. That's all you're worried about, is the plank in your own eye, is your own childhood trauma, is the own things you bring to the relationship. I don't care if he articulates something, Julanda articulates something, and you literally experienced that with your spouse, and they said, I was wrong, and the person in their illustration that was wrong would have been your spouse. Find the one thing you could have did different and worry about the plank in your own eye. Because to do anything else this week, Jesus calls you a hypocrite. I just knew that if God could fix up my husband, everything would be. Do you know I started going to church and pouring into myself and changing my mindset and what I thought as being a wife? He came back the same person and I was automatically happier. Happiness increased by 80%. And he was the same person. Because I worried about the plank in my own eye. So I just want, before you switch your head around, I just want you to remember, somebody just cover their eye. Okay, just cover that plank. Yeah, you got a plank in your eye. And that's all I want you to be concerned about. okay, and not the speck in there. You say, Tiff, they got more than the speck. That alone, Jesus calls you a hypocrite. You don't get to say that. Last thing I want to tell you is you don't have to be an expert on marriage. I know you think you do. I know you think you got to be an expert on marriage. You got to watch all the things and do all the things. You don't have to be an expert on marriage. You have to be an expert on your marriage. You have to be an expert on how does your spouse think? How does he move? What has he gone through, and how does that sometimes show up? What have you gone through, and how does that show up in your relationship? How does, I know everybody else does it like this. As long as it's not biblically wrong, we want to do it like this, and we don't have a problem with that. What does that mean? Just become an expert on your marriage, on how you want to move as a unit. Gosh, I really like so and so. They seem to. That's kind of cool. Why you don't do that? Is that something you was even thinking about before you knew they were doing it? Why don't you be an expert on your marriage? You should be an expert on your spouse. You should know your spouse so well. Let me tell you how good I know my man. Okay, we went into this little new boba tea shop. Okay, little boba tea, and he said, I never had this before. He was talking to the lady that worked there. He said, what flavor should I get? She said, well, what's your favorite flavor? He said, strawberry. I said, mango. It's mango. He said, babe, no, it's not. I want the strawberry. I said, ma'am, he likes mango. He likes mango. He said, but how you gonna tell? It's my taste buds. How you gonna tell me what I like? I said, okay. She said, I tell you what, because she see us going back and forth. She said, I'm gonna give you 2 samples. I'm gonna give you the strawberry, I'm gonna give you the mango. And she put them in the little ramekin cup, handed it off. He tasted it. He said, which one you like better? He said, the mango. I said, well, hey, because I'm an expert on my marriage. I'm an expert on my man. He could come in, same hello, same kiss, same whatever, and just take a weird breath. And I'll say, what happened? Something happened while you was out? What? Dang, how you know? Because I'm an expert on my marriage. Your job is to listen to all the information to help you become a better expert. You're listening for what you can do better to get the plank out of your eye, and you're having conversations with your spouse so you can learn how to be a better expert. You should have, he talked about having an SOP. You should have literally a manual in your mind, a model of how your spouse moves, works, and operates that nobody should be able to know them better than you. Nobody should be able to know her better than you. I already know. Let me tell you right now, she gonna get up, she's not a morning person. It's gonna take her a little while to warm up. So if you know that about her, why you gotta add to? Okay. Then you the opposite, he gonna be with all that time. If you know that about him, okay, maybe you should get up a little earlier, have your me time, warm up a little bit. All right. Find a balance where you become an expert on your marriage. You don't have to be an expert on everybody else's. That's words in Julanda's job. Your job is to become an expert on yours and worry about your own plank, and don't go to jail for giving somebody concussion because you done swung your head a little too many times at your spouse. Is that fair? All right, where my family at? Okay, where's Julanda? I'm handing it off to you.
That was good, Tiff. That was good.
That's good. That's good. Thank you. Because I know my woman like that too. Okay.
Listen.
Okay.
I know my man. Now when he said, babe, what's my favorite flavor? I don't even
listen, because you said, he's like, I want strawberry. I said, God, that's you. He's like, I like this one. No, you don't. You want that other one.
There was a point where I would order steak and they would say, well, how do you want it? And I would look at my wife and say, how do I want it? What do I get?
That's it, baby. That's the goal.
Okay, yeah. What she said.
But I just welcome y'all. I thank y'all. I publicly affirm y'all for what y'all are doing. This ain't no joke. Okay, what it comes with, what you're dealing with, the warfare, that even dealing with other people and trying to get them to see things the way God sees things. And so I speak oil over you and the grace over you as you serve the people this week. I'm going to be taking my notes so I could be a better expert and I could get the plank out of my own eye. So I love y'all, and take it away. Looking forward to it.
Thank you.
Let's get it. Appreciate you, Tiff. Let's get it, family. Some of y'all will see, y'all gonna see Tiff with us all week, but y'all will also see her in our Thrive and Prosper community. So it's going to be amazing, y'all. So, but let's pray, and then we're going to get to this work. We got some work to do today. All right, Father God, we just thank you. We thank you for your word, God. We thank you for your blessings. We thank you that we decided to show up. Thank you for the people that did show up for their marriage, for their growth, and to activate that marriage package.
Yes, God.
Okay, God, that you promised us, God. You promised us favor. You promised us that we can have abundance, that we can grow, God. You promised us legacy, all of those things, God. And we have couples here that are waiting and wanting that, that are yearning for those things, God. And we just want to give you all the praise and glory and honor, God. Allow my wife and I to be good stewards over your people. And we say this in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
Okay, so as promised, we're going to talk about attachment styles. And I promise you all, this is good. All right. And I'm gonna hype it up because it is good. One question though, Levy, what were you eating tonight? What'd you have? What'd you eat?
It wasn't crab legs. What you eat tonight?
Levy gonna make sure he has dinner.
Listen, this was at dinner time.
You want me on this call? I'm gonna eat. I'm gonna make sure. No, I ain't getting on this call if I can't eat. Shout out to Levy making sure.
No, I had some pizza, and it was like another little dish of crab meat.
You
had crab yesterday, right?
Yeah, we went and got it was a crab sale going on, so we got bags and bags of crab meat, but that was one that I didn't have to work for, you know. Yeah.
All right. All right. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna share my screen, and we're gonna dig in, y'all. And shout out to the people that are on YouTube as well. I see you, Danita, over there. All right. I see y'all. Is it Contest? What is it? Contest Arnett? That's what it is. Susan.
Countess. Susan Becker.
It's Contest, babe.
Jasmine.
Natasha Rogers. I see. I see y'all over there. If you can comment and you're watching, I'll shout out your name or whatever.
Yes.
All right, let's dig in.
It's Contessa, first of all. There's an A at the end.
That's not it.
It never says people's names wrong. Blame it. I mean, it says them right. Blame it on just the fact that he can't get it.
No, blame it on their parents.
No.
Spell it how it's, you know what I'm saying?
Contessa is spelled the way it's supposed to be spelled.
Okay. Praise the Lord. All right. So breaking the war cycle. So tonight we're talking all about understanding attachment styles and how attachment styles shape your connection, conflict, and covenant. Okay. Attachment styles shape your connection, your conflict, and your covenant. All right. So what are attachment styles?
Do you want the chapter?
Yes.
Okay. Well, because I can't see.
We got you.
Okay, so when we talk about attachment styles are ingrained, often subconscious. That key word is subconscious, right? Subconscious patterns of behavior and emotion that dictate how individuals connect with others in relationships. They're developed early in life based on your caregiver interactions. These styles affect how adults handle intimacy, conflict, and trust. The four main styles, attachment styles, are secure, anxious, avoidant, and disorganized. So we talked yesterday about how understanding the marriage attachment styles was a tool that we had to use we had to learn in order to utilize that in creating our SOPs. So we wanted to be sure today to go over the attachment styles, what they actually are, what they actually look like, and how you can begin to understand your partner in that respect before we talked about how you're creating these SOPs.
Exactly. And tell me in the comments, have any of you all ever looked into attachment styles or identified your own attachment style or anything like that? All right, tell me yes or no.
There is a psychologist, I think his name is John Gottman. He's the one who created the concept of attachment styles, and it is universal, and it goes across so many levels. If you've done therapy, you may have heard it there as well, because it comes up there often.
Okay, and we got a lot of no's. We got a lot of no's, which is good. So this would be good. So this would be some good learning for you. Okay, so there are 4 different styles. Okay, attachment styles that my wife just said. Attachment styles explains behavior. Scripture explains transformation.
Yes.
So we're going to talk about the attachment style, but then we're going to also give biblical support so we understand how the transformation should look. Okay, so let's dig into the first attachment style.
Yeah. So the first one is secure. And so I'm going to go through these quick. They're on the screen. In a secure attachment, if you are securely attached, that's your relationships. You have a positive, stable view of yourself and others. You know that life, you function interdependently. It's not that solopreneur. It's not that individualist, right? You know that you work interdependently with the people in your life. You're comfortable with intimacy, open and trusting with others. You see yourself as an equal partner. You tend to stay connected even when you're apart. You set and respect boundaries. You rely on yourself and others to manage distress. So that's asking for help, saying, hey, I'm feeling some kind of way. You welcome diverse perspectives and you seek connection, but you also provide space if it's needed with the people around you.
Now, this is the ideal.
Yes.
What we are striving for is secure attachment.
Yes.
Okay, where again, all those things that we just went over, all right, you welcome diverse perspectives. It's not something that begins an argument or a disconnect, the fact that your spouse has a different opinion than you, right? This is a healthy way of now being able to communicate. All right, you rely on self and others to manage distress, set and respect boundaries.
Yeah.
All of these things right here. This is the ideal that we're looking for.
Yes.
Okay, so let's go to the next. So let's talk about biblical support for this, right? Above all, love each other deeply, because love covers a multitude of sins. That's 1 Peter 4:8. So in order to get there, we have to have a love that is unconditional.
Mm-hmm.
Let me tell you something. What I've learned, and when we get into our attachment styles and all of those things, I learned that I had conditional love.
Yes.
Okay? If I'm mad at you, I'm not rubbing your butt anymore. I'm not, nah. I will still open the doors. I'm still gonna open the doors. I'm still gonna do all of those things, but I don't want no kisses. Okay? I'm gonna take away my conversation.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to talk to you as much and all of those things, but love, a healthy love, right? It should cover those sins. Like when you're being loved in a healthy way, there aren't any conditions that can break that love.
Yeah, that's good. This
shows you that you either have what we call an agape love, a love that doesn't have any contingencies, or you're going to have a conditional love.
Mm-hmm.
I love you based off of conditions.
Doing the right.
You got to do the right thing. And the right thing is not based off of what is written, it's based off of what I feel is the right thing.
Mm-hmm.
And if I say that you're not doing the right thing, then you're not doing the right thing. And now I get to take my love away.
Yep.
But here it says, above all, love each other deeply, because love covers a multitude of sin.
Mm-hmm.
And you get to a secure attachment of love because you know your partner loves you no matter what.
Mm-hmm.
You know your partner is not just going to leave because they have an attitude, or because you forgot to pick up your socks, or because you forgot to. You don't have that fear. You don't have that anxiety. You don't have to go into avoidance and all of those things, because you have a healthy understanding. You and your spouse have a healthy understanding of this is how we're going to love each other. And
Exactly.
This is what we're going to provide for one another. This is the environment we want to create. All right.
Exactly.
The next, do you want to say something?
There is no fear in love, but perfect love casts out fear.
Oof.
1 John 4:18. Perfect love casts out fear. When you are in a secure attachment, first of all, you create this atmosphere that allows for safety, transparency, and communication. So if your partner is feeling afraid, unsure, insecure, they are then able to communicate that, and the love that you are able to pour out on them in that moment covers that fear. It casts it out. It's no longer a thing. It's no longer an issue. And so that's a part of secure love.
Can I even say, like, some men will say, well, it's not my job to make you feel secure about when I go out that I'm not talking to anybody else. It absolutely is.
Absolutely.
That's what it is. What I don't want is, I don't want my spouse to ever feel like there's another woman out there that is superior to her.
Right.
And you don't want your husband to feel that way. You don't want your husband to feel like there's another man that is superior to him. That's it. So that fear, you help with your behavior, with your assurance, that behavior helps me not have a fear of you leaving, or not have a fear of some other person being able to slide in your DMs and all of those things. It helps to not have a fear that, hey, if I speak up, or if I say that I don't like something, that you're not going to pop off and leave.
Right.
There should be an assurance there. All right. The next scripture, carry each other's burdens. Galatians 6:2. I got you. That's secure.
Yes.
One of the I should have pulled up the text. My wife sent me a text, and she had said something. She's like, boy, I love you. And don't make me pull up the text.
I'm not, because you're gonna keep going.
Okay. But she said, boy, I love you. And I said, why you say that? She was like, I'm just sitting here reflecting, and I love how safe you make me feel. Where I don't have to be as hyper vigilant. I don't have to be in my I don't have to send a distress code out, because I got you.
Mm-hmm.
And we should carry each other's burdens. Once you decide that, hey, this is the journey that I want to go on, I want to go on this journey with you, then whatever is coming, we take it on together.
Yes.
And there's no fear that you're going to abandon me or leave me when things get hard. There's no fear. This is part of the covenant in sickness and in health. I got you.
Yes.
In rich and in poor. I got you. That's what it should be. And listen, in menopause and perimenopause and and non-menopause, I got you. Okay. And when the 5 days that your period is here, okay, and when it's not, I got you still. This is the attitude. This is how we get to the secure attachment.
Yes.
All right. This is what we're striving for. However, these next three are going to show where a lot of us fall.
Yeah, it's very rare that someone is insecure. It's possible, right? But it's more likely that one of the other three areas is where you or your spouse will fall.
Okay, let's dig. And y'all gonna have to be honest on this one. Okay.
So the avoidant withdrawer, they have a positive, unstable view of themselves, a negative, insecure view of others. They are independent and self-reliant. They want to do it themselves. Fearful of intimacy, elevates self above partner, reluctance to rely on others, views dependence as a sign of weakness, sets rigid boundaries, puts up walls, challenges diverse perspectives, seeks distance, avoids attachment, avoids or withdraws from conflict. For those who were on last night's call, for those who watched today's episode of the show, you would know flat out that I am the avoider.
Yeah.
This is who I am. This is who I have been working to be. This is where I have to work from in order to get to the secure attachment, right?
Right.
So this positive, when people, it's funny, when I was growing up, even when I met my husband, they said, you have so much confidence about yourself, right? It was positive. I had this positive view of myself, but it was very unstable. It wasn't, I was super insecure. You just wouldn't know, and I would never let you know. I am the most positive person that you would ever meet. However, I'm very insecure when it comes to looking at myself in the mirror and believing that I am who God says I am. That's how I used to be anyway. I was hyper independent. Right. I'd fight that today. There was nothing that asking for help, I would cringe if ever I had to ask for help. Yeah. It would be the very last thing that I would do.
I don't want to be treated like I'm some damsel in distress.
I'm not a damsel.
Right. You see what I'm saying? I'm not a victim and all of these things. And again, we can see, because we talked to you all about, in my wife's childhood, she was molested by a brother. So in there, you now have this, I'm not going to be anybody's victim.
Right.
That comes in, all the time. That defense comes up. Well, I'm no damsel in distress. I'm going to take care of myself. But not only that, but you also see that, as you all heard in the documentary, said that's a rough place to be in, where the people that were supposed to keep you safe didn't.
Absolutely.
So now when you have that in your childhood, these people were supposed to keep me safe. And it's like, wait a minute, all of y'all failed me. Yep. Okay, I got to do it myself.
I gotta do it myself.
And that showed up.
If you say, if it's going to be done right, it's got to be done by me.
Yep.
That is classic.
Tell on yourself.
Avoid it.
Who is the avoidant? Who is the avoidant in the relationship? We're going to get to the other ones. Tell on yourself. Okay. If this is something you relate to. If you like, you know what? I just got to do it myself. Because y'all are just, in your head, you might be like, y'all are just incompetent. I can't rely on anybody. And what you don't understand is, I tell my wife all the time, yeah, you're capable of doing all of these things, but you're going to get overwhelmed.
Absolutely. All the time.
Those 10 little things add up to one big thing that you're going to start the process of avoiding.
Yep.
Okay. So anybody, I did that so many times. Anybody that says, oh, okay, we got
some hands. Yep.
Okay.
This is me.
I'm going to tell the truth, shame the devil. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So now if you understand this about yourself, don't worry. At the end of this, we're going to teach you all how to create SOPs so you understand how to navigate this. Okay. So that's our avoidant people.
Okay. So the biblical perspectives, Adam and his wife were both naked and they felt no shame.
So the reference of this, I look at this as naked and felt no shame, meaning I am fully, I'm fully uncovered, no secrets, nothing to hide. All my insecurities are out. Whatever is on me is fully out. And I'm around you and I don't have to feel shame.
Yes.
With the avoidant, I think that's the part where there's a negative insecurity or that positive, unstable view of self.
Also, it's that fearful of intimacy.
Yes.
Intimacy just doesn't refer to sexual. It's this closeness and connection with people.
Yes.
It's almost like it's a protective stance, because in getting close and connecting to people, you then have to be vulnerable and you have the potential to be hurt.
Yes.
So we build walls and we build these boundaries to keep people out, to only give them so much to where they won't hurt me to the extent to where, almost like to the extent of like, I can't recover from it, which with God, you got this.
Yes.
But that's that thing.
And that's what we want to be able to do in marriage. We want to be able to show up fully naked and feel no shame and not feel judgment and not feel like our partner or our spouses are going to alter how they treat us because of this, because we're showing this vulnerability or intimacy. There was a point where there are times where when we were dating, I felt like my wife would show glimpses of, you know what, I'm be happy. And then she would get too happy almost and be like, oh, hold on. That's scary. I'm going to close back up, And so almost going back into this protective state. But we want to remain fully unclothed, okay? There are things that I've shared with my wife that I've never shared with anybody else. But I can be fully naked with her, and that's a beautiful feeling. So.
Absolutely. Just Proverbs 18:1. He who isolates himself seeks his own desire. God did not design us. He designed us for community. He designed us for union.
Yes.
He designed, Adam was never alone. Adam started with the animals. And then God said, you know what? That ain't even enough. Yeah. I need you to have somebody else who is like you.
For sure.
He created man to be with people, things, to be in community. Right. And so if you are being told that the thing to do is to withdraw or to isolate or to, separate, that can't be of God. That's not the design that he had when he had you in mind.
That's it. And consider that what happens in isolation. All right. You know the difference. Now there's some isolation that is healthy, right? But you have to recognize the difference in isolation. We have several instances in the Bible where Paul was isolated, but in Paul's isolation, God uses as the opportunity to build him. In the enemy's isolation, he uses as an opportunity to break you. So if you're in isolation and now you're thinking negative thoughts and you're not pouring into yourself, you're not in isolation because you're fasting or praying. Mm-hmm. You're not in isolation because you're now honoring God or trying to connect closer with God. Those are the isolations that build you. Not only that, but that isolation would be communicated with your spouse. I'm about to go through a 3-day consecration and I'm just wanting to get closer with God. Mm-hmm. And you may even say, hey, do you want to join me? Or maybe God has just called you to it. But the isolation of, you know what? I don't even want to be around her. Mm-hmm. And then what happens in that isolation? The first thing that happened, and some men can relate to this. I'm going to tell y'all right now. I'm thinking about past relationships.
Right.
I'm thinking about what ifs. I'm allowing the foothold to fully come in. The door is wide open. In isolation, I now am further separating myself from my wife. I'm thinking about, love keeps no record of wrong. Well, now I'm pulling out all my receipts. Now I'm like, you know what?
He did this last time.
She made me feel this way last time. Ugh. And this time, and this time. And what happens in that isolation? My heart starts to harden towards her. Some resentment builds up. And I say, see, God, this must not be from you, God. This can't be the one. This is not from you, God, because I'm telling you, the wife that you have for me wouldn't talk to me like that. Come on now. Like, God, come on, send another one. Send another one. I'm like, this is what happens in isolation. That isolation is meant to break you.
Yeah.
He who isolates himself seeks his own desire. And your isolation, you're using it as punishment. I'm going to take my love away. I'm going to take the benefits package away from you now. Mm-hmm. It's done. Until because this is where we're going to talk about submission today. Until you give in to what I want, until you submit to my way, to my will, look, these are your own desires. You must submit to my way and my will. Then guess what? I can give you some love back. Mm-hmm. That's how it's going to run. Go ahead.
So I see that in the chat, I think it's Danita.
Let me look at it.
I just don't like conflict. And I just wanted to say to that, she says she is an avoidant because she doesn't like conflict. Yeah. And the reality is, one, conflict is not bad. Yeah. We talked about it yesterday, the idea that marriage is one of the benefits is growth, right?
For sure.
Conflict produces growth.
Yeah.
So it's not that the conflict is bad, but it is
you not knowing how to navigate.
How are we navigating this conflict?
Yeah.
That's where the SOP comes into play.
Exactly.
So we don't shy away from conflict. We welcome it, don't want it, but if it comes, I ain't running nowhere. Sure. But guess what? We have parameters in place for how we're going to navigate this thing.
Exactly.
And that's the key. And that's the shift that has to happen. And even, I believe that Danita might be single. Even in singleness, you establish now how you are going to approach these situations and how you navigate them. Yeah. And I'm telling you, the level of just stress and ease that comes with living out that life it's amazing when you have SOPs in place.
Yes. And you'll also understand that you avoiding the conflict is causing conflict.
Yeah, and it doesn't make it go away.
You have to recognize that you become someone different when you're holding on to a conflict, or you're holding on to a hurt or a frustration instead of communicating it.
Yep.
Right? My wife will do like, you know what? We're in a good season. I'm not going to say anything. I'm going to let it ride.
Yeah.
Well, 2 weeks later, I do something else. And she like,
that
and
thing
you did the same thing 2 weeks ago. And I'm like, whoa, wait a minute. 2 weeks ago. So now I've been walking around here like, making my way downtown. I'm thinking we great. And you've been harboring some ill feelings. And then,
absolutely.
And guess what? It doesn't, if you harbor the feelings, it doesn't come out in a healthy way.
Mm-hmm.
You avoiding the conflict is gonna cause some conflict.
Absolutely.
Because now you're gonna let it build up like a little pressure cooker. You're gonna let it build up, and then you're gonna lash out.
Absolutely.
And now when you lash out, you're gonna say some things that you shouldn't say. Right, but we're gonna talk about that. We're gonna hold on, y'all. Okay, let's go to the next one.
Okay, so we got 2 more. Anxious pursuer. They have a negative, insecure view of themselves, a positive, stable view of others, tends toward dependence, fear of losing relationships, emotional ups and downs, elevates partner above self, tends toward clinginess when apart, worries about being disappointed or abandoned, anxious with diverse perspectives, tends to be the pursuer in the relationship. These are the partners that may have a lot of concerns or issues with abandonment and rejection. Trust and rejection. Yep. And so that clinginess is in an effort to not feel unloved, to not be left.
Yeah. There was a point where I remember my father needed something from me, and I wasn't able to provide that thing at the time. And I remember calling my wife, or maybe I went home and I was like, babe, if only I was able to do it, then he would have finally said, I'm proud of you. He would have finally said, the thing that I've been wanting to hear and all of those things. So this is me to my core, where because of the abandonment from my mother, then I have a fear of abandonment from the people that say they love me. So there's a part of protectiveness that comes in, and I place more value on what I can offer in the relationship, because then it's like, well, if I offer value in a relationship, that will more than likely have you stay. You won't leave as quickly in the relationship.
At the same time, I would say that opens you up to a tendency to put more into relationships and view a relationship to be more than what the other person actually views it as. So like, it's almost like skipping the courting process in friendship, right? Like, we done hung out a few times, now we best friends, right? Like, I'm sharing my heart with you and you sharing, and it's like, they may not view you that way. And if they don't, you're absolutely crushed. But it's not wrong that they didn't view you that way. Y'all only known each other 3 weeks. Right. Like, give it time to build, right? But when you have that anxious attachment, you are wanting to connect and build your tribe so quickly. Right. And so any glimmer of hope is like, that's my tribe. They're a part of my tribe. That's them right there.
Because the whole thing is you're wanting to feel accepted. And so if you are the anxious attachment, the smallest things, smallest form of rejection from your spouse can make you feel like you're not accepted, like you're not wanted, or you're not valued. And instead of just expressing that I'm hurt, it comes out in anger.
Yeah.
Right. So when your spouse says, no, you know what, I'm tired tonight, that right there is rejection.
Yeah.
And you feel that. And you're like, no, she doesn't desire me, or he doesn't desire me, he doesn't want me, or things like that. You then internalize those things. And guess what? When you internalize those things, it creates a disconnect between you and your spouse, because you go into protection mode.
Yes.
Oh, hold on. Ooh, shoot, I ain't gonna feel that again. guess what? I'm not even gonna ask for sex anymore. I ain't even asking. You know what? How about that?
Right.
How about I just won't even pursue anymore?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because you don't want to feel that. Of course, you still want to seek after your spouse. Of course you do. But the thing is, you don't know whether you're going to be facing the rejection again, and you're going to feel the abandonment. So now you're like, I'm just going to protect myself. Right? Who are anxious attachment people? Who are anxious attachment people? Those that you felt the abandonment.
Oh, Russell said me.
No, that was for earlier.
Oh, that was for earlier?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, he's bored. Okay. Sarah, I see you.
Kabor.
I see you. Where my people? Are we just out here by ourselves, huh? Okay.
Is it Sarah? Which one is it? Is it Sarah or Kabor? Put your hand up. Which one is it? It's Sarah. Okay. Yep.
Okay. Right, yeah, because we knew that Kabor was a avoider.
Kabor, are you a avoider?
Remember, because he was like,
he was silent yesterday. He did say he didn't want to talk.
Just so let's just chill out, man. We gotta do all that.
I don't want to say nothing to hurt your feelings. Okay. That's what it was.
Dr. B. Okay, cool. Thank you. God, y'all about to make me feel abandoned and rejected. I'm like, well, man, you finish this call because you got the wrong group on here.
Dr. B said you're okay.
Okay, I'm safe. I'm safe in here. We're safe out here.
Safe space.
All right, let's go. So, biblical support. For God has not given us the spirit of fear, but of power and love and a sound mind. All right. This is so comforting because one of the things that we're afraid of is afraid of being alone, afraid of being abandoned, afraid of being rejected, afraid of not being accepted, or not having the lack of security that we're desiring. And we're wanting our spouse to bring that to the table. And when it doesn't happen, there is an anxiety that creeps up. But right here it says, for God has not given us the spirit of fear, but of power and love and a sound mind. That's 2 Timothy 1:7. And then the other scripture, you will keep in perfect peace whose mind is stayed on you. And that's such, that right there is such a comforting scripture. It's like, God, when I am feeling anxious, when I do feel rejection, or when I do feel like the abandonment, or when I am in protection mode or things like that, I can give God's word back to him. God, you said you will keep him in perfect peace whose mind is stayed on you.
Absolutely.
So and y'all heard this in the documentary earlier, if my mind is stayed on God and I allow God to fill me up and pour into my cup, because God is a source that is endless. He has an endless supply of love, y'all. And if I allow God to pour into this cup, he's going to create a level of overflow. And that overflow is what I can pour into my wife.
Absolutely.
That overflow is what I can pour into my kids. The overflow is what I can pour into friends. But my source is God.
Yes, and you got to be filled up.
Exactly. So I don't have to focus on, I know when I am at a place where I am overwhelmed, be mindful of this, y'all. When I'm at a place where I'm overwhelmed with my family, when I am irritable with my spouse or with my kids or with whomever, I know that I've been leaning to my own understanding. I've been relying on me as the source. Because if I truly was connected to God, if I truly had my mind stayed on God, then I wouldn't be pouring from an empty cup.
Yeah.
That's what we have to remember, right? You will keep him in perfect peace whose mind is stayed on you. That's Isaiah 26:3.
The scripture that came to my mind was Philippians 4:6-7. And it's be anxious for nothing, but in everything by prayer and supplication with thanksgiving, let your requests be made known to God. And the peace of God, which surpasses all comprehension, will guard your hearts and your minds in Christ Jesus. And so if you find yourself in that anxious state, resetting and refocusing and reminding, okay, God told me not to be anxious for nothing.
Yeah.
I am to take everything to him.
Yeah.
So those anxious thoughts that I am having about my partner, I'm gonna take that to God.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, guys, so this is what happened. And I don't know about y'all, but when I talk to God, I talk to him just like I'm talking to y'all, right? Like we have a whole conversation. He is my homie. So like, I'm like, God, okay, listen, he out here tripping. Let me tell you what he did today, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And this is what I feel about what he did. Like, what's up? Like, what is that?
For sure.
You know, in having that dialogue and that what is ultimately a back and forth creates clarity and peace that only God can provide.
That's good. That's good, man. Okay, you be in your word a little bit, man.
Okay.
All right, let's go.
Okay, and the last one is fearful or disorganized. So it's a negative, insecure view of themselves, a negative, insecure view of others. They seek and avoid closeness. So they seek to be in relationship and connect, but then once they're in that relationship and connect, they try to avoid and push away.
Yeah.
They long for love, and yet they reject intimacy.
Yeah.
They struggle with scorekeeping, fluctuate between expressive and supportive and distant and unavailable. They set and then they don't maintain or respect boundaries. They embrace and reject diverse perspectives. They pursue and withdraw to avoid being hurt.
Yeah.
I would say that this attachment style was heavily focused in my life in my early years.
For sure.
So that's kind of how, until I started to become aware
Yeah.
and started to grow.
Yeah.
But I relied on this a lot. And I remember saying to God, why do I feel so confused?
Right, for sure.
Like I want this relationship. I want this thing, but when I get it, I don't want you in my space. You are getting on my nerves.
Which was the weirdest thing to me, y'all.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, and this is where, you know, as anxious attachment, I'm like, well, I remember we were on a cruise and I'm like, do you still want to be married? Like, and this what, you know, her answer is, little petty answer was, I don't know. I said, what is this? So it's like, I just want to be with you. I want to, oh my God, I'm this. And then the next, you know, week or two, it's like, God,
You're
oh my
smothering me.
God,
Back up.
why are you always here? I'm like, girl, what is this?
Yeah. So Tanisha asked, can you be two? Absolutely. So it's not that you see an attachment style and this is all you. So like I said, early on, I was heavy and disorganized, but I've always been avoidant. Today, I would say that I'm heavy and avoidant, and I got some secure spaces, you know, a little sprinkle here and there. And I'm working on not being as disorganized. Like I don't know that it's completely gone because I still feel I talk myself through a lot of situations though. Like I literally will talk myself through when I recognize, let's just give an example of like, I'm recognizing in my husband that he wants connection, but I'm not feeling it for whatever reason, right? I am in my head talking myself through, okay, so what's going on with you? What do you want and need in this moment? Because you want him to connect with you. You want him to listen to your stories and be interested in you. And in this moment, he's trying to give this to you, but you're pushing him away. So what's really going on? What do you desire? Like literally, I'm talking myself through these attachments and saying, okay, so you're feeling overwhelmed. So why don't you then just go communicate to him that you're overwhelmed and you're overstimulated and maybe you need 10 minutes.
That's good. That's good. And we'll get more into what Wifey is talking about in the SOPs. But I'm not gonna say anything about because we'll get into it. So biblical support. He heals the brokenhearted and binds up their wounds. Mm-hmm. What you have to understand is the fearful attachment. What you're doing is there are wounds that have been extremely opened. Mm-hmm. There are wounds and scars that you have experienced and they have not been healed. They have not been properly managed. So you are trying to protect those things.
Yeah.
That's why you're so fearful of like, I want it, but I don't necessarily know what it looks like, and I don't know if this is it. So you create this doubt, and then you go back into this covering, okay? Or you start to, what happens is you want this love, and then it touches the wound, and it doesn't have to touch it in a negative way, but it's just touch. It causes you to be vulnerable in a way that you haven't been vulnerable before. All right. And then you're like, nah, I can't give you that. And this is what happened with a lot of men. A lot of men, we are told to, we can't cry, that we can't have these type of vulnerable moments. We always have to be hard and aggressive. And this was me for a long time. There was a post that I just seen where it's like, I picture my husband saying, you know, because people would say, oh man, your husband's so nice and cool. And it's like, nah, he's tamed now. You know, this is God. I was very aggressive and all of those things. And I thought that was how a man should be looked at or perceived. But when you think about it, a lion doesn't have to walk into a room and roar in order to be respected. The walk in itself is respected. I guarantee you, a lion walk in your house right now, no one is going to yell at the lion, disrespect the lion, spit at the lion, point their finger at the lion. You ain't gonna say nothing to the lion. You just like, hey, you got it, right? However, let the lioness come in, and she has the power to be able to calm the lion. That's what you all should be able to do, right? You should be able to calm the lion whenever there is, you know, this type of love that or attachment that is displayed. All right. So let's move on. The goal is to create secure attachment.
Absolutely.
That's the goal. Or more so, let's create biblical secure attachment. And this has to be done through mutual submission. Okay, y'all ready for this word? Okay, because I know a lot of people are scared of this word. A lot of people are, you know, trying to avoid talking about this. Can you all post in the comment? Give me one word. Post in chat. Give me one word that comes to mind when you hear the word submission. Where do you? My wife would say that's a curse word.
That was a curse word for me. You talk to me about submission.
Describe what comes to mind when we talk about submission. Okay, Christ-like. I gotta be a punk. Oh, that's good. Inferior, bow down.
Yes, all of that. All of that.
This is
beneath, yes.
Obey.
Slave. Ooh. When I tell you, y'all, we read the same book. Because that was what I said. Don't say that word to me. Submission. Humble is what I say in the today version of me. Amen.
Yeah. Okay. So let's go ahead and we're gonna break some stuff down. Paul would break it down like this. And if we go to Ephesians 5:21, submit to one another out of reverence for Christ. Okay. So first of all, Paul is saying to hey, there should be a mutual submission to one another. This is clear. Now, many people are going to argue that, well, no, this is going up to what he said before, and this is directly before he is talking to wives and husbands. He is saying, submit to one another out of reverence for Christ. Okay, this right here is a healthy, respectful, mutual submission to one another. Submission being there should be a level of care that we have from one another and a level of speech that we have for one another out of reverence to Christ. Okay, what we have to understand, let's just think logically for a second. I'm gonna read the rest. God has given us autonomy. God has given us free will. So you mean to tell me that he has designed marriage for you now to marry someone that is a dictator of and snatch away your free will and autonomy? So he is put you with someone that is to take away your voice, to take away your autonomy, to take away the freedom of choice that he's giving you. All right. When we look at it, it's like that. How do you get that? All right. But let's look at the word and then let's break it down. Wives, submit to your husbands as to the Lord, for the husband is the head of the wife, as Christ is the head of the church. First of all, I want to stop right here. And I want to just talk about how Paul does something that is so phenomenal. He compares the relationship between the husband and the wife to Christ and the church.
Right.
First of all, we understand that and I'm gonna read it as well, but we understand that the church respected Christ, honored Christ, sought out Christ, listened to Christ, was submitted to Christ, looked for Christ's voice, listened for Christ's voice, also had deep connection and conversation with Christ. This is what the church, he's comparing these two. This is what the church did. They still had their own free will. They still had autonomy, but they still made time for God.
Yeah.
This is submission. They still made time for God. And then when we look at the relationship between Christ and the church, well, what did Christ do for the church? Christ still sought out the people, still listened to the people. He still were willing to submit to the people as well. But more than that, Christ died for the church. That's the ultimate form of submission. When we look at, well, yes, we are called to mutually submit to one another.
Yes.
And Paul says, this is how it looks. It looks like the same relationship between Christ and the church. Men, what does your submission look like? It looks like you should be protecting the church. You should be protecting the spouse, right? Christ provides for the church. So what does your submission look like? It looks like you should be providing. Christ listens to the church. He hears the prayers of the church. So what does yours look like? It looks like you should make your wife's voice important.
Absolutely.
And then so much so, Christ died for the church, was willing to lay down his life for the church. What does submission look like? The ultimate submission. I'm willing to die. I'm willing to lay down my life.
Myself.
Submission is not a sentencing. It's an honor. And when you start to understand that about your marriage, it changes it. It is an absolute honor to serve you. And it's an honor to be served.
Absolutely.
It's an honor to listen to you. And it's an honor to be listened to. It's an honor to seek you out. And it's an honor to be sought out. Y'all hear me? It's an honor to be respected. And it's an honor to respect you. This is a gift. And when you understand that, then now when you know these things, now you open up a healthy, secure attachment in your marriage, where you don't feel less than, where you don't feel inferior, where you don't feel superior, right? You don't have this complex where you have to be right or where it has to be your way, right? And so that's what we have to understand. When you start understanding these things and we're going to tell you how we got to this place, because we have some SOPs that we're going to next. But I also want to hear, my wife will break down her view of submission. I mean, we share the same view, but just giving her perspective as well.
Absolutely. I mean, I think you summed it up well. Like I said, it was a curse word to me, right? It was all the words that you all said. But to come into this and understand the biblical perspective, and to have a man who was willing to not assert this masculine identity, but instead be submissive one to another, to be willing to hear my voice, to be willing to have conversations as opposed to a dictatorship, that softened my view and my understanding of love and submission in and of itself. I still, every time, it's one of those words though, that every time it comes up when we are communicating with couples and we're talking about marriage, I stress like, no, but hold on. Let's go ahead and lay out what this thing actually looks like, because this is one word that is often misconstrued. This is one word and that has often been weaponized and used in marriages, right? And it's like, no, that's not God's design of marriage and submission, right? And so when you understand God's design, that completely changes the dynamic in your marriage, and how that learning mutual submission is actually one of the foundational principles that will help your marriage always be connected.
Yes. Yes.
When you learn to mutually submit to one another.
Yes. Yes.
To hear each other's voice, to understand, the Bible tells me, is God, my husband, and then my family, right?
Right.
And to understand that he is the head of our household. Does that mean that he, on a solo trip, makes all the decisions? That's not what that means. That means that he comes up with the vision, he comes up with the plan. I come to him with stuff as well that I say, hey, what do you think about this or whatever? But we have a conversation. Right. We mutually talk that thing out, and we jointly
move in agreement.
We move in agreement and we determine what works best for our family.
Yeah.
But that's the thing. We have to move in agreement. We don't do solo trips.
There is a scripture that I want to look up in 1 Peter 3:7. And the scripture even talks about how it talks about how you need to treat your wives and have honor and respect for them, unless your prayers will be hindered. If you want to, you have it up? Okay. Can you read it real quick?
So this is the New American Standard. This may not be the one you want. Your husbands in the same way live with your wives in an understanding way as with someone weaker, since she is a woman, and show her honor as a fellow heir of the grace of life.
Again, as a fellow heir. Okay. This is not putting us like, hey, this is a dictatorship. Showing her honor as a fellow heir. We are both heir to this thing. All right. We both. Okay. Let's go.
Okay. So that your prayers will not be hindered. I want to go a little further. To sum up, all of you be harmonious, sympathetic, brotherly, kind-hearted, and humble in spirit, not returning evil for evil or insult for insult, but giving a blessing instead. For you were called for the very purpose that you might inherit a blessing.
Yeah. So again, God is calling us to honor. Peter is calling us to honor our spouses, because your prayers will be hindered, right? This doesn't sound like you're to dictate this. You're still to have a level of respect. You still to have a level of honor. You still are to move in a level of humility.
Absolutely.
All right. When it comes to your spouse. And again, it's important that we understand what this looks like. So and again, like next slide, we'll start to break those things down of what it looks like for us to actually have this mutual submission. And again, we're going to move in agreement. We're going to have conversations, and our goal is to get to a place of agreement. So
we talked about that guarantee. You can go to the next slide. We talked about that guaranteed approval yesterday. And so you want to make sure that you and your spouse are moving in agreement, because that automatically strengthens the potential and the capacity for the things that you're doing.
And that rapid growth. That's one of the things. When you all are struggling with submission, this is why you're at a standstill. This is why you haven't built a business together yet that is profitable. This is why you haven't raised the kids like you want to, or you haven't done the activities with the kids like you want to. This is why you see that you're stagnant at your job.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, as if your marriage is off, my sis Tiff says, like, if my marriage is off, my equilibrium is off. I can't even walk. You know what I'm saying? When the marriage is off, you're not going to function the same way you would normally function.
Mm-hmm.
That's what you have to understand, right? And then here's the other thing that I want you all to be aware of. If you are constantly in a situation where you're not being heard, or where your voice is being suppressed, understand you now eliminating the power of two. Mm-hmm. You now are eliminating that benefits package that we talked about, right? All of that's just eliminating. But there's going to be something that you want to do where you're going to want your spouse to activate, and they're not going to activate for you.
Right.
It's because you didn't fuel them.
Mm-hmm.
What did you put in the tank? No, in the tank you said be quiet.
Right.
In the tank you said your voice is not important. I don't need to hear from you. And this is why sometimes your wives get to the point, no, you got it, bro. You got it. Or the husband, no, go ahead. You good. That's where that comes from. You've been suppressing their voice, and now when it's time to activate, they can't. You've been telling them, putting them down all this time. I don't even let my wife say negative things about herself.
This man will literally say, don't talk about my wife like that.
What? Like, girl, what?
I'm like, I do not like my hair this way. It's so ugly. Don't talk about my wife like that.
Don't talk about my wife like that. My wife's hair is beautiful. I don't know who you think you're talking to, right? Let's be clear, all right? Because I want, when we're making decisions, I need you fully available. And I don't need you feeling insecure. And I don't need you feeling like, oh man, you put me down so much. Now I can't I'm doubting myself. I don't need all of that. I need you fully in your sound mind, because we got decisions to make. We got things to do. So I'm going to continue to pour in. I'm going to continue to lift you up. I'm going to continue to validate. I'm going to continue to listen to your voice. And I expect the same thing. I'm going to give vision. Here's the vision. Here's what God says we're going. Let's move on it. Here's the thing I need you to make decisions on. And sometimes men, we get so ignorant to, no, it's supposed to be me making the decision and all that. You making decisions on stuff you're not even gifted to make decisions on.
Mm-hmm.
I gave y'all an example before, like, when the school system, okay, I'm not looking up the schools, 1A, 2A, 3A, 4. I don't even know what these numbers mean today. Okay, she's looking at the grade of the school. She's looking at the teachers, how long they didn't talk. This girl creates to hand out to the teacher. What's it called?
Operator's manual.
She creates an operator's manual for our kids.
Each kid has their own.
They have their own, and she prepares it. I'm not doing that. So you mean to tell me that I'm supposed to now make the decision? Okay, cool. If I got to make the decision because I'm supposed to be the man, I got to make all these decisions. We're gonna make the decision by the house. I want this house, and it could be a dumb school. But I guess our kid's going to this dumb school because I like this house. I'm not doing all that research. So you give it to the person. So I say, as the leader in the house, hey, babe, that's you. Can you own that for me, please? Can you own that so we can make sure our kids are good and they have the best education? Because that's her thing. Education is her thing. She reads 500-page books. I'm like, yeah, and it takes her 6-7 days. 500-page book for me. You just planned out the next 4 years for me. What? 500 pages? So we got to understand, like, babe, can you own that? Now, what she's going to do is do the research, and babe, she's going to come back. Boom, babe, this is what I found. This is what I found. This is what I'm thinking. You got what thoughts do you have? I'm going to give my thoughts. Here's some things I would love for you to cure before we move forward. Okay, I got you. Cool. Now we move forward in agreement.
So let's give it on the flip. My husband, very outspoken, very extroverted, very energetic, right? Always on stages, talking, doing all the things. And he's like, babe, I want to do these videos. I want to get on these stages. I want to have these talks. And I want you to do that with me. And I'm looking at him like, no, babe, you got that. Like, that's not my area. That's not where I'm gifted at. Now, I will do a video here and there. I'm becoming a content creator. Okay, I'm doing some stuff. But regardless, I'm like, ultimately at the end of the day, God gifted you with that thing. Okay. Yeah. So you run with that. You do tell me where you need help. Tell me how you need me to function and flow within it. And I'm going to be there, but you're not about to see me scripting out series and doing and all. No, sir. That's not, because God didn't if it's me, we about to do something different. Yeah. we going to be at the house. Yeah. Like, oh, no.
Exactly. So that when it comes to business, I'm more business minded. Y'all heard her talk about, she didn't even know, she'd never seen an entrepreneur in person.
Right.
I'm going to take on that role.
Right.
But I'm also going to be like, hey, babe, but I need you to look at this.
Absolutely.
Right. I'm going to use her strength. She's going to use mine. I'm more financially conscious of saving. Okay. Mm-hmm. But wifey is more on the realm of creating experiences. If it was up to me, we would have all our money saved, but we would be in a room that maybe had some furniture.
It probably have a futon. It would have a futon and a blow-up bed.
Our family experiences will be walks. We'll go to the movies for sure. We'll go out to dinner. But when I say, wifey, you're in charge of the experiences, let me know what the budget and stuff is to be. Now she's the one that now we can go to Puerto Rico for 3 weeks, and we can go into all of these different Dubai and all of these places where she's planning out the experiences. She's doing birthday experiences, all of those things. This is how we make decisions. So that's a part of, as we're on this slide, one of our SOPs. I know I started from the bottom. Now we're here. But one of our SOPs is how we make decisions. So you all should be defining, you need to create an SOP for, hey, how are we making decisions?
Yeah. What are your areas?
Yes.
Who's taking ownership?
Exactly.
Of which areas?
And you have to own that area, right? We know we have an SOP for mail. Mm-hmm. We know based off of strength, based off of when the thing is even said, your level of care for it should tell you that's not your area. When she said mail, I immediately thought to throw it all away. That's what's in my head. So I know that's not my area. So she's like, fine, I'll read the mail. You read the mail on, what days is it?
It's Sundays.
Read the mail on Sundays, and then she shred everything, all of those things. That's an SOP. When the mail comes in, we already know, hey, everybody put the mail right here on this part. Mommy will see it. Mommy's going to take it to her desk. Once mommy puts it to her desk on Sunday, she's going to read through the mail. Mm-hmm. And then that's the SOP. Boom, 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 boom. That's how it works.
Decisions pertaining to, if you guys have kids, education, activities, things, even the things that you think. This is what we learned in the last couple years, is that the things that just naturally have been happening that we didn't have SOPs for, we didn't have an operating procedure, it still helped to create one, because when that thing is not being executed in the way that we desire it to be executed, we both standing there looking at each other, pointing the finger like, well, why ain't you? And you didn't ask, and neither did you. And, so it was just some simple stuff like, who's transporting kids to school?
Yeah.
Who is waking kids up and putting them to bed? Yep. Who is, all of those kind of conversations, or who's paying the bills?
Yeah. Yeah.
What bills need to be paid and who's paying them? How are they getting paid? Yeah. When we get money, what does that process look like? How is that? Do we have one account? Do we have multiple accounts? What does it look like for us? Right.
We talk about this. We break this thing down in our Thrive and Prosper community, where we're literally talking about, all right, this is what happened with the money. This is the accounts. This is how we do it. This is how we structure it. And I'm telling y'all, it gives me so much peace, okay, and how we now have it set up, because that was a place of stress. I am one, like, I want to give. My wife has to give it hard too, but I want to save. I'm like, hold on, we're spending too much. I'm sweating. I can't think. What are we talking about? And then every time I look around, a doggone your friends are coming to the door, dropping off packages.
That's why you don't know their names.
I can't
keep it moving.
Y'all tell me, help me out. What's the blue people? Amazon. Amazon knows her by name. I'm like, my God, today. Every time I'm like, But now I don't have that same thing. I don't, because of the system that we have set up.
We have an account designated for stuff like that.
Yes.
If there's money in the account, boxes come to the door. If there ain't no money in the account, ain't no boxes coming to the door.
Don't get it. Like, so these are conversations that create that secure biblical attachment. And it starts from this mutual submission that we have. Yeah. Where I'm not so hung on like, no, all of this got to come through. No, we ain't doing all that.
Yeah.
All right. And plus, we're going to not get as far as we possibly can if I have to make every single decision and not use your mind.
Right.
Now you're a dependent. I don't want to be married to a dependent. That don't make sense to me.
Right.
Like, so you have a mind and you can think and all of those things. What happens when I say, hey, babe, you take care of this, I'll take care of this? We gonna move a lot faster. Absolutely. This is the benefits package. All right. The next thing is intimacy. Okay. Y'all need to create an SOP for intimacy. Okay. Wifey is more so because of her past. If I let her be in control of that, okay, we might as well be nuns. And I'm
not nuns.
You might as well be a nun.
You laugh too hard with
it. And I'm the Pope, okay? Or a monk out here. What are they called? Whoever the celibate people are, okay? Because we relied on her, like, my God, today, okay? But also, if I wasn't aware, then I would take those things personally. So now I say, like, babe, okay, look, here's what I need. Here's the SOP. Okay, in the morning, I'm going to need some hugs about you. And I'm going to need to rub your butt, okay? We're going to get some booty rub.
Can I say this? So that was also had to be clarified in our SOP regarding intimacy. Is we have different needs when it comes to intimacy. I'm saying to him, while he's saying we would be nuns, absolutely, because I need to be filled up in non-sexual ways before you come hollering at me in sexual ways. So I'm gonna need communication. I'm gonna need you to listen to my stories without eye rolls.
Right.
I'm gonna need you to actually act like you're engaged and you want to hear what happened on Real Housewives of whatever.
My God.
I need connection. Like, that's what I need. And if I have that connection before you get to the space where you're trying to go in a sexual way, then we'll be good. So that's when it was like, okay, well, let's give me physical touch. I need a hug.
Right.
I need hugs in the morning. I need words of affirmation.
Yeah, let's get into those little head, rub the bald head, all of these things. Like, these are SOPs. So like in the morning, I'm getting, like, she'll see me when I wake up on the bed. She come right over, give him the hug. It's like 15, 20 seconds. I get a little butt rub. I'm like, this just got my day. You know what I'm saying? I already prayed, said thank you to God. Now I'm like, okay, this is something. And when it's off, I'm like, yo, I ain't got my, like, this is one of the indicators how I know something's wrong. You got to be aware. When you have, listen, y'all, when y'all put these SOPs and stuff in place, you gonna know when something off. Cause like, okay, see, you ain't following that. Okay, so something, I ain't had a hug in 3 days. What's going on? What's going on? And the first thing they gonna say is nothing. No, it's like, oh my God. But this is one of those things where we talk about like sexual needs. As far as that, there's an SOP for that. And we've done different things. Again, we talk about this in Thrive and Prosper, but we done different things that we've tried several different
like schedules.
Like we've tried scheduling or we've had a code word or that we're going to use or things like different things that we've tried. You all had to create your intimacy plan. What is the need on both parts? You may say, I need to be, when I get to this point, I just need to be left alone for like 30 minutes. And then you may say that.
So you mentioned, I just wanted to clarify. I already took care of it. You mentioned the code word. And so I wanted to clarify that one because that one was really important in our relationship. So in the space when you have one partner who is wanting to be intimate sexually, and the other partner who, for whatever reason, is not wanting to be intimate sexually, but also not wanting to completely reject the partner that is pursuing, right? We created a code word. We just said, hey, babe, I'm gonna need a shot clock tonight. And so for us, what that meant was, there isn't, first of all, that's not rejection. The person doesn't receive it as rejection. They say, okay, I got you. What that communicates to that person is 24 hours is all I need.
Because the shot basketball, I love basketball. Shot clock on the basketball is 24 seconds. So that's what it is.
So we say 24 hours is all I need. Let me get my head together. 24 hours, you come back, I'm ready for you. We good. That took away that rejection, that pressure, it took it all away, and really helped us create a safe space in our intimate area as well. Yeah. So I thought that was a great one that we used.
And you can't do shot clocks back to back.
No, you can't shot clock every day now.
Once you say, you can't like, let me get another 24 hours. Once you shot clock once, it's like, okay, cool. I respect that. There's no emotional attachment to it. There is not a, oh man, see you, none of that. It's like, oh, okay, cool. You both know, because this is the SOP, within 24 hours. Okay, one leg is going this way.
Look at this.
The other leg is going that way.
You're also not shot clocking times when there's actually something else wrong, right? So if I'm physically ill, I don't have to shot clock that. Like, that's just communication. I'm sick. I got the flu. I got these, those things. A shot clock is literally, there's nothing wrong except maybe emotionally you aren't there, and you aren't connected, and you're not able to, or maybe you do have an upset stomach, and you're just like, whatever, I got a little gas, I don't want that, whatever it is. Give me 24 hours, right? But it's not for serious things like that. But
she had the shot clock me yesterday. Okay, again, in transparency, I'm looking, okay now. And she like, well, babe, I'm like, all right, it's all good. It's all good. No worries. Okay. But as soon as we get off this call.
Listen, okay, you're such a mess. Not even.
Okay, we're going to move to the next one. Overwhelm. There should be an SOP put in on both of you all for overwhelm, right? This takes two things. One is transparency. You as the person that is overwhelmed, but it also takes awareness from you, the spouse, that needs to be understanding the overwhelm, that needs to be able to view. So I know that as an avoidant attachment, I know that wifey will watch, she'll be on her phone sometimes and she'll watch a show. But when I look at her, and every time I look at her, she's on the phone, right? It's like, hold on now.
Oh, she's disassociating.
Hold on. She's disassociating.
She's not connected.
She's not connected. She's avoiding something. Hey, babe, what's going on? I know the SOP is when I see that. Now, you all have to talk about, well, how do you approach that? Because you don't go in there, what's wrong with you? Hey, babe, I noticed you've been binge watching show a little more lately. Is there anything going on? Or is this just a really good show that you locked into? And now here's you creating that safe environment. Your spouse can say like, yeah, I am. I got so much stuff. I'm overwhelmed, all of these things. My response to that is, okay, what do you need from me in order for you to be able to get your things done and come back, get back acclimated to what's going on? She may say, I actually just need to be left alone. Bet. Cool. All right. And you're going to work that out. Now, when I see it, I don't have nothing to say about it. If you got some stuff that you laid on that you ain't get, that's on you. All right. Now, if that ever changes, you know what? I do need some help on it. I got you. No problem. But once you tell me, and this is why it's important for you to communicate, once you say, I actually just need to be left alone, I'm not going to feel a way about that. This is how you're coping right now. Cool. Is that how you want to move? Then that's perfectly fine. But if she says, hey, what you can do for me is this. And if I can make that happen in that moment, cool. Or I'll say, okay, I can do that, but I got this to get done first, and then I'll come right back to it. Yeah. Right? In overwhelm, this is how we're going to handle the situation. And the same is going to be done for me. Well, I'm a little different where in my overwhelm, I'm just going to push through it. I just want to get it done because I'm like, I got something on the other side. So if a show that I want to watch comes out, I'll dangle it on the other side of me finishing this thing. All right. Like, what's the show that just came out? The
Night 8.
Night 8. I'm like, okay. I'm gonna watch that when we get done with this intensive. That'll be my treat. Okay, I'm gonna watch it. So let me push through all of these things first, and then I'll reward myself with that. However, in me doing that, the temper, the patience is a lot lower, and all those things when I should have probably just took a break. Mm-hmm. And my wife will recognize that sometimes, or say like, well, babe, why don't we step away? Yeah. And why don't we do this? And I needed that because I'm just going to push through it and put my body through whatever it needs to go through in order to get done. You have to become aware of your spouse in this way. Yeah. And now you put an SOP in place. When you see this, what should you do? Like, don't, even though I want to be left alone, but it's not healthy. So as my helpmate, as part of that package, just go ahead and help me out. I'm like, hey, let's take a quick break.
What is our operating procedures? How are we going to function in these areas?
For sure.
And know that it may take some trial and error. Mm-hmm. Like you may say, this is what I think I want, and this is what it is. And then you determine, 3-4 weeks in, that's not working. We need to make some adjustments.
That's good.
And that's okay. Mm-hmm. Like that's all a part of the process. That's a part of growing and learning and figuring out one another.
And our last one, now that you understand these different attachment styles, you all are going to have non-negotiables that you bring to the marriage. We have these for what we call intense fellowships, right? We know intense fellowships are going to happen, but there's some non-negotiables that we have to abide by. Just like not to compare boxing to marriage, but just like in a boxing match, you know how they say, no going below the belt. You got to keep your hands up here. When I say stop. There's certain rules to combat always. Mm-hmm. That's not any different when it comes to marriage. It's like we're going to have times where we disagree and we have an intense fellowship. Here are the non-negotiables, or here are the rules of engagement in that. So ours are.
There's absolutely no hitting. No hitting. No cursing at me.
Don't curse at me.
Don't call me out my name. No using the word, we call it the D word, but no using divorce as an option.
Divorce is like, when you say that, we don't even say it in joking. It's not even like, okay, well, shoot, are you about to be by yourself, be divorced? We're not even saying that in joking.
Or even referencing you about to be by yourself.
None of that. We're not doing any of that. Because when divorce comes up, we immediately know there's another SOP for that. Divorce comes up, okay, we're to stop talking, and now we have to bring in a third party.
Like divorce is the 911.
Stop talking. We now have to make the 911 call, and it may start off with friends, and then, okay, we know that we're going to, at that point, go to therapy. We're probably going to be 8 weeks in that session, 8 to 12 weeks in that session, or whatever it takes to get back on one accord. If that's again, this is a SOP. Mm-hmm. All right. It's not just, I'm pissed, I'm about to leave, and then you start pursuing it. No, go through the process that we said. You said you wanted to leave. All right, this is the process. Don't play with it. That's why I said don't joke with it, because I'm going to go through the process. Mm-hmm. I'm going to follow the SOP that we wrote out. Okay. So, and then the other one was?
We have 2 more. So no ultimatums, to each other, like telling your spouse, you do this or else. We won't do any of those. And then no using our secrets against one another as revenge or a weapon, right?
Right. Don't use the moments where I was vulnerable with you against me later. Okay. So this is you all now have to create your own, right? Because there's some of you all have been having intense fellowships and you're willing to go as far as it can go. Y'all you cursing at each other, y'all calling each other stupid and all of that. I don't want none of that, right? How is it? We still have to be in mutual submission to one another. Even if we're in disagreement. I told you, I gave the example of, with my father and discipline. Now, my man could get intense, but this man's still validating me as he's like, you can't do that. All right, that's nonsense. All those stuff. You're a millionaire. You're this and this and this. You can't make these. I'm like, you don't know whether to be inspired or scared, right? But there was still like respect for his son there, right? There's still a reverence there, and that should never be broken, y'all. Even in the intense fellowship, that should not be broken between one another, all right? And when it is, boom, then that's a code red. If these things are broken and now you're feeling like betrayed, all right, code red. What does that mean? Boom, we got to get a third party in.
Got to get a third party in.
Literally, y'all, and this is how we do our own SOPs. Okay, we just did this in January.
Yeah.
I told y'all yesterday. She came to me. I'm still in my feelings. I came the next day to her. She's still in her feelings. I said, okay, well, babe, we're gonna just go ahead and make a therapy session. Boom, get in the therapy session. We did 3 or 4 weeks. Cost me some bread, but at the end, my marriage is intact.
Absolutely.
My marriage is still intact. Outside of God, there's nothing more important than this covenant.
Mm-hmm.
This is your biggest asset. Outside of God, this is your biggest asset. There's so many things that we talked about that is activated from you being married. The activation of marriage and the package that you unveil is worth fighting for every single day.
Absolutely.
Y'all hear me? So we're gonna take a couple questions. We just put a lot on y'all there. Okay. We're gonna take a couple questions if y'all have them, or Tuka, you run it, however you run it.
Can I hop in here?
Yeah.
We want to go ahead and do this engagement, get the link dropped for
Okay.
them. So first of all, I just want to say, did the Taylors show up for us or did they show up? So give the Taylors some love in the chat. Let them know that we love and appreciate them. And I know that everybody's going to go home and work on their SOPs. That attachment style had me thinking, okay, I got to narrow down which one am I, okay? So team, I want you guys to go ahead and drop the link for tonight's $50 covenant drawing. And once you guys see the link, click it. Fill it out. You have 5 minutes, okay? And then once the Q&A is over, we will announce a winner. You will enter your name. All you do is enter your name, your email address, your Cash App, or your Zelle. That is it. You're in the running for the $50. But you have to be present when we call the name. So do not, whether you're on YouTube or in the Zoom, do not leave the room. Okay, stay locked in through Q&A and we'll choose the winner right before we close out tonight. All right, let's get in the Q&A. Who has a question for the Taylors? Who has a question? I don't know if I'm allowed to ask one.
Definitely ask your question.
You can ask.
I want to know if it's possible. Like, can I be two? Because I honestly feel like I'm both avoidant and both disorganized. And maybe in different maturity spaces in our marriage.
Yeah.
I have changed. So
yeah, I mean, if two resonate, then yeah, absolutely.
You absolutely can. And
for sure.
Yeah, I think that's what I was saying. You may be more dominant in one than the other, but you absolutely can be in multiple ones.
Okay. Yeah, I think I'm leaning more towards the disorganized. Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Just all over the place.
All over the place. I was like, I'm all there right there.
Like, I love you. I don't like you. Go on, so.
I've seen it treated me like that before, so I know that.
You see me do it, didn't you?
You did it to me before.
So false.
Look,
All right. Any other questions besides mine? I'm gonna go home. I mean,
Danita said, "Why do the delivery boxes bother y'all so?" About them Amazon boxes.
That's funny.
Why they bother you so much?
It's because it just literally it means there's some money that went out. And then this girl will be like, "Babe, we just came up $200." I said, "Ooh, where we get that from?" Well, I refunded some stuff.
Refunded some stuff. Then we got extra money.
It's girl math. Okay. I got my money back.
You talking about the $200
that we spent. I love the attachment styles though, because I think like when you're relating with the person, if you got these different styles, like the one that I think was my husband, I'm like, okay, now I'm looking at him from this particular style, not just, and so it was so good to me.
I can tell you right now, he's anxious.
Yeah. Yep. Sure. That's definitely my husband. I was like, I think this is him.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
And when you understand that this is one, not conscious, it's subconscious. This is based on just the early interactions and attachments with those who were supposed to love and bring him through life, right? Mm-hmm. When you have that idea in the forefront, you have no other thing or no other feeling than to just provide more grace and compassion, because he may not even notice that he's doing XYZ sure. In response, right? There may not even be an awareness. And so it's like, okay, you can help by bringing the conversation, by bringing the attachment styles, and when we went to therapy. And the therapist asked him, so I learned about the attachment styles in college, right? Because that was my degree. He says in therapy, the therapist says, "Do you guys know about the attachment styles?" I was excited. Yes. And I know who I am, right? And he goes, "No, I don't know about that. Tell me." And she says, well, and she goes through like we did. There's the avoidant and the anxious and the secure and the disorganized. And I said, "I'm avoidant and he's anxious." I ain't anxious. There ain't nothing about me anxious.
Yeah.
I ain't anxious.
Yeah.
And it was like, you don't even know what you're talking about, sir. Like, you don't even know what the pieces of it are, but he didn't like the word.
I know I don't like the word anxious.
The therapist broke down what it was, and he goes,
"That's me."
"Oh, well.
That's me for
okay.
Sure. Okay.
That's probably me."
That's me.
That's me. But he didn't have an awareness that he was functioning in this way, because it's subconsciously happening, and it's the way that it's always been.
Yes.
And that's how he's programmed.
And wait till tomorrow as we break down behavior tendencies and this assessment that we took, that now we started to understand our different behavior. There are 4 behavior types that you're going to see. Like, I'm telling you all, as we start to learn and utilize these tools, our marriage can now shift.
Absolutely.
Because we're more aware of who we're married to.
Absolutely.
Right? And it's so phenomenal.
So Rhonda asked, what do you do when a simple "I am sorry" should come but won't come?
This is part of the SOP, right? So how do we reconcile when we're focusing on hurt, or when we've just had an intense fellowship, or any of those things? If it hasn't been worked out, if it hasn't been stated, then you don't know that a sorry is needed. Mm-hmm. You don't know when to say sorry. You don't know, and you don't feel safe enough to say sorry and not think that you're going to get the other person's going to, be like, "Oh, I need to take some responsibility for something as well." So this is why this conversation is so important. On Wednesday, we actually break down reconciliation. So we're going to talk about the "I'm sorries" and the apologies and how that looks, sounds. We'll even do a little role play for you all and all of that stuff.
Yeah, because I also wanted to say that you don't give an "I'm sorry" in an effort to get an "I'm sorry."
Right.
You are providing that "I'm sorry" because you genuinely feel that there's something that you need to apologize for. And I can point the finger at all the things I think he needs to apologize for, but it's not my job. Like, I can maybe bring the conversation out, but I'm not here to convict him. Like, I'm truly like, okay, guys, so he don't see He don't see that. Okay, I'm gonna go back to my prayer closet and I'm gonna pray. Ultimately, God will make him. I kid you not. There have been situations where he has come back about 3-4 days later. I have already apologized and moved on. He texts me about 2 days later. Babe, you know what? I'm sorry. The other day, I definitely could have handled it different.
For sure.
And I'm like, oh yeah, that was the Holy Spirit. Yeah. That wasn't me. But it was because I didn't say I'm sorry to get it. I wanted to take ownership for what I did.
Yeah.
And for my part in the entire situation.
Yeah. And it wouldn't have been a problem for her to say, and here's the thing that offended me in that conversation as well. So Dr. B says,
wait, hold on, words. Sarah had her hand up and she put it back down. So let's get her and then we go to Dr. B.
Mm-hmm. I have a quick question. Is VIP still happening, or the Q&A starts now?
Yep, Q&A starts now. Let lock it.
Okay, because I had a more private question. I didn't want it on YouTube, so that's why I'll wait.
Oh, okay. Okay.
All right.
We can stop the streaming.
Yeah.
Or you can, because we still stream on the YouTube, but if your question is more private, you can actually ask it in the Telegram. In the Telegram, and then I'll answer it tonight if you put it in there.
Yeah. And you can send that message to Words Julanda privately.
Yeah, she could do either way. Whatever she's comfortable with.
Okay, perfect. All right, go to Dr. B, and then we're gonna see if there's any other questions.
There's one more on YouTube, Tuka, too. Dr. B? Oh, are you going to ask the question?
Oh.
How long should we attend therapy? You mentioned the length of therapy, 8 to 12 weeks. Is that based on the problems or required time for transformation? It's based on the problem. So there is no prescribed time. So with our most recent incident, we went for 4. Did we do? I don't think we did 4. I think we did 3. We did 3 sessions. In 3 sessions, we were able to resolve and come to conclusions of what worked for us in 3 sessions, right? However, when we went in the summer of 2024, or spring and summer of 2024, we started in March and we didn't end until August. And that was
let's get out there.
So let me give you the dynamic. So the recent incident was under the guise of laundry. Okay. It was under the guise of socks. Okay. So that was resolved in 3 sessions. However, what happened in the spring of 2024 was, I think it was a heaviness. And it was just this feeling of like, man,
so we also had a lot that was going on with, so we just pushed through. We gotten audited by the IRS. My health was down. We had just moved from Des Moines, Iowa to Texas and all of those things. And there were so many things that we hadn't had a chance to discuss. And then there was a blow up. Now the blow up about the thing, I don't even
remember what that was. It was very small.
Because it wasn't even about that. And then but so many things started to come out in therapy that it just took us longer to get through.
Yeah, because we were so far disconnected. Yeah. So we go, and it's not necessarily, you said until transformation happens. I don't know that it's necessarily transformation, but it's until we can come to a resolution to where we feel on this particular topic and this thing, we are reconciled. Like we can move forward in agreement.
You will know you're there when you're both feeling heard, seen,
and understood.
When you can be like, okay, you definitely, I feel like you heard me.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm going through. You understand my point.
Yeah.
When you know how that time when you say, yo, I see you. Seeing meaning that you see the effort that I'm putting in, the work that I'm doing, or my, that I'm trying, or the grace that I gave, or any of those things. All right. That is when you know you're seen and understood, meaning there's a level of empathy that is demonstrated to one another. Right. So you know that you are there when you feel heard, seen, and understood. And then you'll say like, okay, this are like, we had that conversation like, okay, we're gonna do one more. Yeah, let's do one more. Just just
yeah.
Make sure
and you also find yourself going to the sessions, and you finally get to where you're like, we don't really need to be here, right? Like, this is a waste of my time now.
You just call me $200. Yeah, so you'll know then. Was there another?
Yep.
I love this tonight, man. Look at, I appreciate that, bro. I appreciate that. Okay.
Conflict produces growth. I used to avoid it at all costs. That's my takeaway. Absolutely.
Well, that's good. How do you make marriage a priority when you have littles?
3 under 3 and a teen.
I will bring my kids in here right now. And matter of fact, it's on my social media.
They were just at the door.
I randomly asked them, how do you see me treat, how do you think I asked my daughter, how do you think I treat my kids? And she said, not like your wife. Because she is the queen and all that. Like, she said this random answer.
She's 14.
Right? And I asked my sons the same thing. Well, how do you think I treat mommy? And they were able to say, what do you see me and mommy do every single Friday? We all go on a date. How do I dress when I go on a date? You put on your fancy clothes and all of those things. So it looks like you make it a priority and you set the example for your kids to see. What you have to understand, whatever they see you do is what they're going to expect in their marriage. And every single Friday, I start talking about it on Wednesday. Hey, I got a date with mommy, all of those things. They don't ask me to do nothing. My daughter one time was like, hey, I want to go to the mall with my friends on Friday. Who's taking you?
Right.
Well, you could take me drop. No, I can't do any of that. I got a date with my wife. I'm not doing it. Every single Friday, they see us get dressed up. They see us put on clothes. They see us excited about going to, that's sacred. We don't move that. Right? They see it. They know the hierarchy. They know the priority. They know, and I got another piece of content. I don't say to them, yo, don't talk to your mother that way. I tell them, don't talk to my wife like that. They understand, yo, don't talk to my boy. You don't see me talk to my wife like that. What makes you think it's okay for you to do it? There's a boundary that I set for our kids, and they know, like, this is our union. And we'll say things like, hold on, mommy's talking. Well, when we're done, you hear mommy talking, don't just jump in. There has to be boundaries that are set and put in place that they will start to respect. Because I'm telling you, if you don't set the boundaries, then they won't set boundaries when they get married. And their spouse will be allowed to treat them any type of way. And you're going to you want me to teach my sons this. Because if my son happened to encounter your daughter, then you know that he's going to treat her very well. He's going to take her on date nights, and he's not going to let the kids talk to her any type of way or anybody else talk to her any type of way. And you know that he's going to be a provider and a protector and all that. You want this. And you know that your daughter is going to do the same. Like my daughter will do, if my daughter encounter one of your sons, she's gonna put a demand. Hey, hold on, like I open the door for my daughter, the car door. She gonna stand at the door, but like, what you do? They see me do that. I open car doors and all of that stuff for my wife. You have to set the standard. I've never let our kids sleep in our beds. Sometimes, you can't
say never.
When they get sick,
my first 2 definitely slept in my bed.
But what happened? They were definitely kicked. No, we're not doing that. We're not doing that. We're not. This is me and mommy's room. I don't need you disrupting that. I set clear boundaries to them. Knock on the door before you come in my room. If you see me and mommy talking, wait till we're done talking. Don't disrupt. Like, this takes a level of boundaries. And we have 14, 9, and 6 years old, and the youngest 2 are boys, and they are active. Right? So again, you make them a priority by you all setting
what that looks like
first. All right. So I know on Fridays This is something that we look forward to. This is something that you can expect from us every single Friday. They get to see that. And it's sacred to us, so they respect it more. They're not disrupting it.
You're establishing their reality of what marriage looks like. Exactly. And that's what they're going to live out if and when they decide to get married. So keep that in mind as you are interacting with your spouse.
Yeah.
Because what marriage do you want them to have?
Yeah. And that doesn't mean they're not a priority.
Mm-hmm.
Like that, the little one, he definitely gets attention from mommy and all that stuff. That doesn't mean they're not a priority. It's just that they understand that there's a boundary. You don't just get to disrupt what we're doing because you just need some, or you think this drawing is important right now. It is important, but it's not overly important where we're just going to drop everything.
Well, and you also have to understand that your union is the foundation. If that thing breaks apart, then the life that you have for your children is not going to be, set and stable anyway.
Right.
So you want to make sure the foundation is strong and the foundation is a priority before you move out to be with the kids, because it's like, if we're disconnected, if we're not working, if we do get divorced, if we separate, that's going to completely disrupt their life, right?
Mm. Yeah, that's good.
So
that's good. I think that was.
Yeah, I think that's it. I think they are ready with the wheel for the contest.
I'm gonna leave you all.
Okay.
Because I have to go.
Okay.
I got kids to put to bed. Thank you all for tonight.
Okay. All right, Johnny.
And there's my baby. Just come in, Bubba. I see.
There's always something hurting on him.
Always. It's my boo. This is
he had a foot lip. Other day he talking about my lip hurt. Okay, well go lay down. Go lay down.
Come on, baby.
All right. Y'all ready for the spin? Get it.
Yeah, we're finishing now.
Who's gonna get $50 today and take me to lunch?
Dr. B.
Dr. B is our winner. Yeah, hey, Dr. B is in the house. Okay. I am so proud. Make sure you drop your takeaway. Okay. So make sure is going to be on Telegram, social media, or in here. Make sure you drop your takeaway. All right, y'all, we have come to the end. Before I let you go tonight, I do want to talk to you about VIP just one more time, because we're heading into day 2 tomorrow, and I want you to be in the best possible position to get everything out of the week. So again, like I said earlier today, every single time that I've had a breakthrough or a transformation in my life, it doesn't matter if it's been my health, my business, and my marriage, is because I got in the room with the right people who were already doing the thing that I wanted to see in my life, and I could ask my real questions and get real answers. So that is what VIP is, okay? So make sure you click the link if you're not already in the VIP. And if you have more questions, the Telegram community is there for the VIP team. And you also get that exclusive day with Words and Julanda. You do not want to miss that. It may never happen again. I am telling you what I know. Okay. I'm excited it's happening Saturday. And I don't know if it'll ever happen again. So you should be in the room. Okay. Listen, we absolutely love you guys to life. We'll see you tomorrow at 11 a.m. Central Standard Time on YouTube for the premiere of Act 2. I can't wait. If you can, watch it before it's over. Don't skip it. Then we have the midday session at 12 p.m. Central Standard Time, and we recap Act 2 and go deeper. Then we'll be right back here, 6 p.m. Central Standard Time for the evening teaching session. And then 7 p.m. Central Standard Time, we have our VIP Q&A. We love y'all to life, and we will see you tomorrow